TGIF, everyone. Hi, Jordan, Richard, Hugo, Sinatra. Everyone
Good
doing
morning,
okay?
Dale.
Hi, K-Man. How are you? You getting some follow through in the yen to the downside?
Yes, absolutely.
And yeah, so euro held yesterday and giving it back today. Pound looks like 118 isn't that crazy anymore. And the metals got killed.
Yeah,
S&P is lower, so risk
good
off.
of events.
Yeah,
It looks like
So-
the big repricing is underway in some form. Seen a lot of repricing in yields as well. The yen has totally benefited from it. I was saying in the room this morning as well, I said it just feels like there's some big yen positions being unwound.
Yeah.
We saw different stages of it. We had the antipodians and the Asian currencies overnight versus the yen, and then it started yesterday in America on the American currency, the dollar yen, CAD yen, perhaps some Mexican. It looks like a big unwind of yen positions going on, and that caused the acceleration in a relatively illiquid Asian market as Hong Kong was closed. So yeah, I did take my profit on the dollar yen because I'm still somewhere in my mind that it's a bit tough for me to be long yen for more than a couple of sessions, especially against the dollar yen. Other currencies may be a bit different. But it is true that if we look at the commodities, if we look at oil came off as well, but it's that one is rebounding already. But then especially the yields coming off, all of a sudden someone or some big asset manager woke up and say, "Oh, we need to hedge our or manage our yen portfolio a bit."
Yeah, and good morning, K-Man and Coach. How you guys doing?
Hey, buddy. Yeah.
You know, it was amazing. I was telling the folks.
You're far away, Blake.
Oh, can you guys not hear me?
Well,
does that sound better?
Bit better.
All right. Yeah, make sure you guys can hear it. Dale, do I sound all right?
Just a little muffled.
Man, I don't know what's up. Hold on.
Or just a little, not muffled, just low. You sound low.
Better?
Better.
Okay. All right. So, you know, one of the things that I noticed in Asia was, I went to watch a movie with my family, and then it literally happened like within that 2-hour time frame.
So it's
you had the Aussie yen just broke this triangle, and the Kiwi yen, and as K-Man, as you were pointing out, it seemed to be the Antipodeans and the yen that just got clobbered. And we saw, but we also saw the Aussie against so many other currencies, Kiwi against so many other currencies just get absolutely demolished. And so I suspect, as you suspect, it's the beginning of, it's flows for the beginning of the month or the quarter, right? I mean, it seems that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, we had these end of month, end of quarter, end of half year. It's always a bit bizarre. Then we printed this high of the dollar yen, and then I was looking at it, and a lot of people called it in the room, which is absolutely great. And then all of a sudden, I was looking at yields versus what was happening in the yen. I said, "There's something wrong here." And then all of a sudden, and I think the detonator may have been this Atlanta Fed nowcast. Forecasting a 1% drop in Q2 in the US may have perhaps been the detonator for all those yen crosses all of a sudden to readjust. If it's a readjustment, as I was saying, it's possible it's the start of the big repricing as well. You know, if commodities continue to come off and stocks come off and then and yields calm down. It may, because it's a big part of the yen weakness, right? Those high energy, high commodities, high whatever yields. There may be some repricing needed to be done in a lot of yen pairs, and I'm not sure whether it's over or just the beginning. I really don't know.
I was also looking at copper.
Want to grab the charts, Blake? Go ahead.
Yeah. I can. And by the way, Dale, you've been talking about this this move in the Aussie dollar, and I know you were just pulling it up here. I got actually a few things to talk about.
Okay.
I know we don't have Ryan here today. I think Ryan's on a beer drinking binge, right?
He's going to a concert.
Oh man.
And I have to also throw some flowers at Dale, because you saw the third drive in this yen, and it really rolled over. Well spotted, Dale.
Yeah, Dale, you called it really well on this third drive. The 1, 2, 3, barely to a top, and then reversal there. And then you're also talking about the Aussie dollar moving lower. Now, we've been talking about this forever, because if you guys have seen this, anybody that's been with ForexAnalytix for any period of time knows exactly what I'm talking about. I've been following this channel lower. I've always thought this was a risk to get down here, so that's why I've not been adding to longs. Like I'm establishing longer term longs down here, because you guys may know this, and looking at it as a big inverted head and shoulder pattern on a weekly basis. So these levels down here I think are very important, but I thought they could be tested. But the narrative that Cayman that you're talking about right now is the big risk for commodities, because look, I've got, this is where, a couple of things. You look at copper and you go you wonder why the Aussie's just getting crushed. Take a look at copper, completely smoked, right? So now you have to look at the macro environment and ask, are we in a disinflationary environment, or is this a deflationary environment? And that's going back to what you just said. I don't know if this is the beginning, or is it just repricing? It's the same thing in the commodities market. You go, well, is this disinflationary, where you're only seeing just a pullback in commodity prices, or are we going into some deflationary type of cycle? And I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Stelios knows.
I think.
Yeah, there we go. I knew
hello.
I'd somehow.
By the way, well done, Dale. I mean, that was such a great call. I think there cannot be a proper deflationary move anymore with central banks doing what they do. And by that, I mean, as soon as we see some kind of, like we saw in COVID, big risk-off event, they're going to come in and, flood the market. So yes, we will have shocks, price shocks, but deflation, I don't think we'll ever get that again, simply because there's, all the major economies are creating huge deficits. The end.
Yeah.
But
then explain to me what's happening with gold and silver. Gold, this is a big breakdown here.
Yeah, and they're selling everything. That's the problem. I have friends who have investments, and they're like, my God, one of them said, my God, the best investment I have so far in terms of returns and in terms of not dropping is gold. That's why I'm letting that go at a small loss, and I'm trying to fund the others. And I'm like, this is the opposite of what you should do.
But that's the opposite of what you should do, right?
But that's what a lot of people do. So you're like, I'm down 25% on something, I'm down 3% on the other. I'll let go of that, so my loss is small, the 3%, then I'll try to, average up on the other one. It's like, that's the easiest way to get bankrupt.
My NFT of the pink penguin is like the best performing asset I've got on the face of the planet. I'm joking. I don't even.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna get asset price deflation, momentarily, and we're going to get these shocks like we had in COVID. And I think this is another one coming. I really do think the S&P is going to hit 3,300. And obviously, as the index goes down 25-30%, you have single name stocks, especially the ones that have really outperformed, absolutely crashing. Right. So, you're going to see good assets being sold along with the bad ones. So that's how I explain the move in gold and silver. I've told the guys in the chat room, guys and girls and everybody, I have now put my order in 1880 to get full size long in silver. And that's my level. If it gets there, I'm going to be really happy.
Since we're talking a little bit about silver, this is the 2019 spike highs. You can see we're breaking lower. I do think 18. What'd you say? 1880.
Yeah.
There's
I
a
do think
trend
that's.
line.
Go ahead, Dale.
There's a trend
That
line
was
right
came
there.
in.
Oh, go ahead, K-Man.
Yeah, there's a trend line right there. I replied to still. I'm looking to buy down there as well.
I
At
missed that. Okay.
around 1860, 70, 80 something.
Well,
I have
I'm-
a trend line down there.
And again,
I'm targeting $6. So
good.
Just kidding,
Again,
just
I'm not recommending people do what I do. If you remember, I've been talking about silver for a long time. My last long was average 15 or so. In the COVID crash, I was down, when it hit 1250, I was down quite a bit, but then I unloaded at 25. So, if you can, I trade largely unleveraged, and my horizon is not 1 week, 1 month, or even a year sometimes. So, I don't recommend you follow me. That's just what I'm doing.
Bricks
Except
usually
when
have
you-
a 30-year horizon.
except when you trade Bitcoin, then that's a little different. Speaking of Bitcoin,
Yeah, it's
we
under
had
pressure.
I mean, it's back under pressure. El Salvador bought how much Bitcoin at 19,000? That when that hit the wires last night, Bitcoin ripped from 19,000 to 21,000, and look, we just gave it all back. How do you feel if you're a citizen of El Salvador right now? Or this is
I'll tell you, very, very hungry, most likely.
It's gonna be and gonna be hungrier. I don't know if that was what's caused the spike, but I think it was because it was around the same time. But again, I was with my family, so I didn't.
Wow.
But that was that happened. Yeah, I mean, look at Bitcoin. Oh boy, remember the long-term targets come in around 7,000 or 8,000, somewhere in that neighborhood. It looks pretty. Good morning, Steve. How are you, TGIF? Okay.
That was it from him. He doesn't.
That was it. That's all we got. All right. Well,
Sorry,
very
what?
good. Let's talk a
What
little
did I
bit
lose?
about European CPI data that came out overnight, and
Yep.
this seems to be a pretty common theme. We're seeing core CPI data coming in a little weaker than expected, and let me go over to the data here just so you guys can all see it. So you got move that, and let's see where are we at. There we go. So we got the core CPI coming in, weaker than expected, and the CPI just well above expectations. What do you guys make about that? Make about that? Shoot, I can't even talk. It's Friday.
An Italian CPI at 8%, a lot higher than last print.
Yeah.
So this is ongoing, and this is not going to change overnight or from 1 week or 1 month to the next. And I think this is going to force the ECB to act quicker and more. And I don't get why the euro dollar is down today. I mean, obviously the dollar is up against everything, but man, I wouldn't want to be short euros here. I really wouldn't.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the dollar, because we had the dollar actually showed. This is a daily chart, and this is one of those things that I got up this morning. Well, it was actually last night. I felt the same way when I saw that move, but I think it's a lot of end of month, end of quarter, end of half year flows. Look at the daily candle yesterday at the dollar index. That's a you could argue that's a gravestone doji, but I think it's more of a pin bar. But anyway, it's still a little false breakout, lower high, and then to get up this morning and see the dollar index as strong as it is. I'm not sure if I trust that strength, but at the same time, we are at the end of or the beginning of month, quarter, maybe more rebalancing, as K-Man has been pointing out. And the dollar is just ripping right back higher. So Dale, maybe you might be correct here on your 3 drive that you're looking for.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah, I mean,
So
yesterday I wouldn't have.
106.70, 106.50, something like that. Mid 106s would do it.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that 106s were almost there. But after yesterday's move, I didn't think it was possible. But hell, I guess anything is possible here. We got the sterling that's kind of leading the charge, as it has been for quite some time.
That'll be a 3 at like 118.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are wondering, are we going to be able to break down
1.272.
Yeah.
You have there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's entirely, possible. I thought this long-term support was just going to hold for a while, but I haven't been trading the cable much. But man, I tell you what, it has been trading very, very heavy. So
Well, we've been
anyway,
saying it for a while. There's almost no reasons to be bullish pound. The end.
yeah,
said it for a while, right?
I mean, well, you don't live in the UK anymore, but give me your reasonings, and maybe K-Man has something to say about that.
Well, I think the the ongoing issues with Brexit is far from done, right? They've agreed on something, but there are problems, and it's the effects are going to be felt now slowly. You read about all these issues with not just customs, but everything you want to do has become a lot more difficult. I have loads of friends who live in the UK, and they're telling me it's a lot harder than it used to be. Plus, the Bank of England is not as hawkish as they should be. The end, they're forecasting 10% or 11% terminal inflation rate. That's what they see the peak, and they're doing 25s, which doesn't compute.
It doesn't, but neither does. I mean, you could argue that why isn't the Fed raising interest rates at a full percentage point at a time? I mean, it doesn't make any sense either. But K-Man, do you have any thoughts on the sterling at these?
I agree. I'm actually trying to catch, but when I do that, it's really small. Catch a small knife here on the tech levels, but. Overall, I'm still not. I'm not bullish sterling either. I'm rather looking for more medium-term positioning than this short-term stuff. I'm more looking at selling rallies in sterling. Really, I also think the Bank of England is not managing it particularly well. And also, I want to repeat, it's not because you hike rates that your currency is going to strengthen. Usually, very high inflationary currencies are rather weakening than strengthening. But no, Stel is right, and Brexit isn't done, and it just accumulates on top of other issues that there are now in the supply and the pandemic situation where I read somewhere that thousands of really small building companies are going overboard. The situation in the UK is not really rosy.
Plus the political uncertainty. Boris Johnson is not the most popular prime minister.
Yeah. The market shrugged it up for a long time until it
did they actually have any popular prime minister for the past several years?
Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah, but that was literally when I was a kid.
Yeah. Actually, I think John Major had good support in the beginning. He had a very good support. But anyway.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Steve emerges. We asked you about the European inflation data, but you had disappeared. We didn't hear you after that.
Yeah, what do you want me to say about it? I mean, I've exhausted it.
I want you to tell me it's going to be okay.
It's not.
And I can get my thumb out of my mouth, and the world's going to be all right. Please tell me it's going to be okay.
It's not going to be okay. Sorry.
Man, you suck. All right. Next, just kidding. So yeah, I mean,
so what's your plan in a not okay world, Steve?
Yeah, buy what, Steve? What do we buy?
And not just buy, sell. What's your plan? Hunker down where you're at, ride it out.
Listen, there are two phases in what we're going through at the moment, right? Every single currency is losing a lot of value having to do with its purchasing power, right? FX moves are secondary in nature because what we cannot see in FX moves, because FX moves just measure the relative strength of one currency versus the other, right? One thing is for sure is that all of them are losing purchasing power really, really fast. So, what in general survives over time, and I'm not talking about short-term moves, is anything with intrinsic value, right? We know very well that these are not the promised land of cryptocurrencies, etc. These are things that you can actually buy and store value. They don't lose value over time. They keep readjusting over time, I reiterate, their price. So the nominal price more or less adjusts with real prices, right? We know which items these are, but of course, this is for long-term investing. Now, having to do with the short-term, what matters there is the perception of the market. The market is currently perceiving that central banks are waking up, and they will actually. The market is more or less pricing in that central banks will actually manage to tame inflation. I have a much bigger doubt. So practically, I think that we have to go along with what the markets are pricing in at the moment, but we need to be ready for the period of time that the markets are going to seriously question the ability or resolve of central banks to take the fight all the way, as it happened in the early 80s, right? And when is that going to happen? When we get recession getting really ugly. So until then, we have to keep respecting the current move that we're seeing, meaning, equity is lower, precious metals remaining under pressure because of expectations that inflation is going to go down and the real rates are going to go positive, etc., etc. But I think that I don't know if it's going to be later this year or at the beginning of next year. I think we're going to see a major pivot, and then things are going to completely reverse. Precious metals should go berserk. Equity markets in nominal prices might go really, really well bid.
Where do you think during this phase you'll be able to add to your gold position?
First of all, I have only physical gold, so there is nothing to add. I have all I want to have at the moment. Right.
Okay.
What I'm looking to add to is to my silver position, because I just accumulated 1/4 of what I wanted to accumulate. And my intention is at 1911. When we reach that level, I'm going to be buying more physical. I want to increase my position to half of the position, right? Because I want to accumulate, I've said it a long time ago, I want to accumulate physical silver as well.
Okay. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Okay.
I bought Solana. I'm joking.
There you go.
Is that
I'm
physical
joking.
or digital?
I'm joking.
It looks like a very promising chart there, Blake.
Although it did, just so you guys know, Solana did complete a head and shoulder pattern. I mean, that's important to know, right? I mean, it did completed a head and shoulder pattern before it goes to zero. I mean,
I like Solana Beach, Blake. How about you?
You know, I love Solana Beach as well. I'm a big fan of Solana Beach. I'm a big fan of Southern California. What can I say?
Yes.
But yeah, Solana did complete a head and shoulder pattern, but I was totally joking about that. Let's take a look at one of the trades that I talked about during the trade off on Pepperstone, and this is a big cup and handle pattern in the Kiwi. And I've been worried about this breaking down just because I have some Kiwi exposure, and but I talked about it on the trade off, and here we are actually breaking down today. And the fact of the matter is the Kiwi, and this is not a chart that was my chart. I was originally looking at it. Let me get rid of this the cup and handle part of it. I was originally just looking at it as a triangle breakdown earlier this week, and Benedict in our chat room's like, that looks a lot like a cup and handle pattern. I'm like, you know what? You are exactly right. An inverted, right? And so we're actually breaking down pretty aggressively right now.
Hey, wait a second.
Friday.
I said that in the morning edge yesterday.
Yeah, no, Benedict brought that up several days ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see it. But I 100%
You should actually jump in the ForexAnalytix chat room sometime.
You're absolutely right. When I have less things to jump around through. By the way, I totally agree with Benedict. I said it yesterday as well. So I didn't see what he wrote, but I saw the same thing. And it's a very bearish development that we're having today, both in Kiwi and Aussie. Blake.
Oh yeah, you should watch the trade-off that I did the other night.
Damn! Well, how many things am I going to do?
Holy cow, Steve!
How am I going to work if I'm watching?
I'm just harassing you, but we're approaching the 127% extension of the triangle. So there's There's some thoughts that that this could be a false breakdown, but you'd have to see a move back above 62 cents in order for me to be convinced about that. And with the Aussie dollar breaking down, the euro breaking down, the sterling breaking down, the dollar rand breaking out, the loonie is actually. Don't we have some Canadian data today? I may be mistaken. We do. No, we just have ISM.
My problem
It's a
with
Canadian
jumping the
holiday.
gun to calling false breaks, because I see people doing it all the time, is that it's like you have whenever you try to do this, and I know it's in human nature. I'm not talking about you, Blake, right? It's the psychology of always trying to buy something cheaper or sell something more expensively. What we know as a fact is that, for example, the Aussie and the Kiwi remain in a downtrend for a decent period of time now. So I think before we call something a false break, we actually need to see it reverse.
And that's what even though the Aussie, and I'll talk a little bit about this because you brought it up, the Aussie dollar is breaking down. I've actually been wanting to add to my long-term longs down here, but I was telling the guys and gals in the chat room today, I'm not ready to do that yet. I want to be like confirmed that this is going to be a false break. So I'd have to see a move right back above 68.50 again, 68.30. And if by the end of the day we get above that, then I'd be like, okay, well, maybe I might be adding, and then I might watch the price action in the next week, just because when you're trading longer term, you got to think that way. But you're right, Steve. On an intraday basis, you have to be really careful because and it's not just. You can look at one currency. If it's one currency, it's doing its own thing. Like let's say it was the Swiss, and the Swiss was just making its own move, and you're like, okay, well, that's just a Swiss move. But right now, it's really a dollar move, and it's a broad-based dollar move. Whether you're talking about the sterling, the euro's even back under pressure again today, even though we're still in a wedge. But you can see the Aussies moving, the Kiwis moving, the loonie is breaking its channel. The dollar mex the dollar mex isn't doing much. It's a dollar move. It's a broad-based dollar move. So then you have to start being really careful.
You know very well that long term, I've been for a long period of time a dollar bear, right? But I've been outright dollar bullish for many months now because we have a perfect storm in favor of the dollar. What is that? We have the Fed that is acting, better, not good, but better in comparison to other central banks having to do with trying to supposedly do something about inflation. And at the same time, we have risk off. Both elements currently favor the dollar, right? So but why would I want to fade it?
Right, but today is a little bit different because the S&P may be down slightly, but it's really not a lot. So that's one of the reasons why you could argue that today you might see some dollar. You might see some dollar.
Oh no, my comment hadn't to do with today. It was like this period of time.
No, I understand. But what I'm saying is if you want to make the argument that today that you might see, this might just be some flow related moves, it's because the S&P is actually not down today. So I actually think it's more flow related at the moment, but we'll see. I mean, it's very early, but let's not forget this is also a long weekend, guys and gals. If you do not live in the United States, we take the 4th of July off. This is the holiday where Dale's going to be sitting poolside, barbecuing some wieners.
Vienna dogs.
Vienna dogs. That's so gross. So gross. I don't even. I get grossed out thinking about those things. Anyway, we're gonna
having one for breakfast right now,
dude. I tell you what, I'm gonna.
Oh my god.
No, but seriously, this is it's a long weekend. It's the beginning of a new quarter, a new month, a new half year. So there's probably a lot of positioning and repositioning. So just be a little careful today. And it's a long weekend. We will not be broadcasting on Monday. just so everybody knows. You know, I know there will be people in and out of the chat room, but it's going to be a long weekend for most of us. And that could be one of the reasons why you're seeing, you know, the dollar, you know, extend some gains. Matter of fact, look intraday, here's the dollar index. We're probably approaching the 78% retracement, which comes in around 105.35. So it looks like we might have a little bit further to go for the dollar to extend some gains. So, Charles just said ISM. ISM comes in 30 minutes. So
No, in 1 hour and 30 minutes.
1 hour and 30 minutes. There we go. Thank you. Thank you. It's still Friday at 5:30 in the morning here for myself and for Dale.
Yeah.
Dale, I don't know how we keep the crap together in the mornings. Like this.
I don't know how you do it either, guys. I have to tell you.
Marathon men.
It's
Iron
crazy.
Men.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, I know you have your guest. He's back today,
I don't.
right?
Do you know, I found out the reason Arnold canceled yesterday. He lives in South Africa, and they're having a strike. All the power station workers are on strike, so they've had no power for 10 hours. So he can't make it again.
That reminds me of, like, you know, the things that happened in Greece. I remember the first time I went to Greece, Steve and Stelios. So we went, we flew in 2003 when I was getting married. And all the taxi drivers were on strike, and we were at the airport going, "What the? How do we get?"
Yeah,
anywhere?
we need a ride. Yeah.
Do people still strike a lot in Greece too?
Less than they used to. I can tell you
they
that
used
much.
to all the time for everything.
Yeah, that is true. Thankfully, it has been substantially reduced.
All right. Well, hey, I don't want to take away any more from our guest. So I'm glad he could make it today.
No, he can't. He's still down.
Oh, he's still down. Oh,
yeah.
I thought you were saying
he can't
that's
make
why
it.
he was
So
coming into.
they're
down.
having
All right,
unreliable labor for power. That's
Oh.
what's going on there in South
Oh, I
Africa.
thought for some reason it was out for 10 hours and he's coming
that
back.
country.
That's
been has a lot of messy things happening there.
That is
Unfortunately true.
Yeah.
Going back to Greece. I mean, my wife always used to tell me that the Greeks would go on strike for everything. So, but I'm glad it's a lot less than normal. Well, anyway, any last minute thoughts with you guys that are here? As we go into the weekend, like I said, it's a long weekend. S&P is maybe down a little bit, but we held the 618 retracement yesterday, and I don't know if I'd feel too comfortable being short risk right now going into a long weekend, but I don't know. That's just me. I don't, and I have zero position here in the SPOOs. But do you guys have any last minute thoughts before we head out? Stel, I know you got to head out here in a little bit.
Not really. I'm keeping everything very tight ahead of the long weekend. By the way, there will be a flow show on Monday. Ryan will entertain the people. I'm taking Monday off as well.
Oh, that's
the American.
That I was. You're gonna celebrate being an American today.
Exactly.
Or on Monday. Awesome. Well, that's great to hear that Ryan will be around. I'm
lazy Dutch.
What's that?
The lazy Dutch.
The lazy Dutch. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
All right, K-Man. You heard it from the perky Greek man.
No, of course not.
Where are you from?
No, I'm Belgian, mate.
Belgium, yes.
The country that's been the most ran over in one day in history.
Yes. Sorry, I forgot about that, Cayman. For some reason, I thought you're Dutch.
I think you really should.
All right, Steve, you're offending people left and right. Let's.
Oh, come on. It's not a bad thing being Dutch.
No, I just want to say any last minute thoughts for you guys as we head in. And I mean, it's been kind of a wild couple of days, but looks like by the way, it looks like equity markets are getting a little bit of a lift here. You look at the NASDAQ here intraday, we're starting to perk up a little bit. S&P is starting to perk up. Here's the Dow futures are starting to move higher a little bit. So we're seeing a little bit of perkiness in equities. I wonder if that's going to continue. I think everybody should be buying Bitcoin. Just kidding.
Absolutely.
Hey, one of the other things I wanted to point out, we were talking about it in our chat room too, is copper's been, one of the big movers that's really, this is where we go back.
Smelling recession. The one
Yeah,
that's smelling
yeah.
recession.
It is, and this is where I start going. Is it disinflation or deflation? That's when I start looking at charts that look like this. So, anyway, I want to thank everybody for being with us. Remember, if you haven't checked out the Trader Funding Program, if you want to learn how to trade our money and not your own money, whether you don't have access to money or whether you just don't want to risk your own money, you can make 75% of the returns that you make, but you have to pass an assessment. If you want more information about this, make sure you go to the very bottom of the page, watch the video. It's 2 minutes, literally 2 minutes. Come join our community at ForexAnalytix, for the long weekend. So, team, Dale, you have any last minute ideas here? Thoughts?
No, just, make your plan over the weekend and be ready for next week. I still think the dollar has a chance to repeat what the yen did, maybe next week.
All right. Well, we'll be seeing if the dollar will stretch its legs to 106 as Dale is thinking.
Yeah, new highs.
Awesome. All right, new highs it is. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Dale. Thanks, team.
Okay, team.
And thanks, everybody.
Yeah, team.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for a
guys.
great week. Thanks for a great
Have a
week.
great long weekend.
Doing your best. Nice trading, everyone, and came in. Nice yen top pick, and the room did well. And nice to leave for a long weekend on an uptick. So congratulations. And everyone, thank you for hanging out with us for the last 6 years. Hope that we've added value and that it's something that you'll look back on someday about where you really were formed as a trader. And don't forget to, count your blessings. Don't just count your pips, count your blessings. And everyone have a great Independence Day here in the US. And we'll see you guys next week. All right.
Thanks, Dale. Thank
All
you,
right,
everybody.
Shell, I'll get
Thank
that
you.
list to you today, buddy.
Thank you, man.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks,
All right,
team. See you, Stella.
All right, see you guys.
Okay, man.
Bye-bye.
Steve.